What happened? Because it didn't seem like it was getting there. What happened, Jayson?
Yeah, this was a really strange week because you know the odd thing about this, Rich, is like all the stuff that kept them apart for 3 months, they had pretty much worked out coming into this week. You know, they were so close on the really important stuff, the tax thresholds, minimum salary, this bonus pool for young players. And then, it almost felt like Congress, where you work out all the stuff you argue about, and then you find something else to fight about. So they wound up at this incredible fight over the international draft. And that was mind-blowing to me because, there are abuses of the international market. There's no doubt about that. And it's been a problem for years. It was a problem 5 years ago. It was a problem 10 years ago. It was a problem 20 years ago. It was a problem 30 years ago. It did not become a problem this week that should have held up this labor deal. And because the relationship between the two sides has been so uncomfortable for so long, it almost did blow this up. But luckily, sanity prevailed. I think that's the best way to describe it.
So let's just try and put it, because again, I've spared my listenership and viewership the fight, let's not argue in front of the kids type thing. So, I didn't get into the minutia, but I'd like to give the listenership and viewership of this show, Jayson Stark, a little bit of an idea of what's just been hammered out and how it might change things. So let's just start with the plain brass tacks of if I'm a fan of, say, the Miami Marlins. I'm sorry, I'm still old school, or the Pittsburgh Pirates, or a team that doesn't spend, and you're frustrated, and will this new deal in any way, shape, or form make things more palatable for those fans? That will it force these owners to spend in a way in which they haven't before? Jayson?
Yeah, that's a really fascinating question, and I would say the answer is no. I wrote a big piece in The Athletic last night that you find it on our site today that looked at the impact of the various things they tried to do to promote more spending, to theoretically promote more competitive balance. But here's the flaw in the quote-unquote competitive balance tax, which we used to call the luxury tax. Hey, the good news for the players is the thresholds went up $20 million. And so for teams at the top, that's a relief, right? They can spend that money. There's virtually no incentive for the teams you mentioned, the teams at the bottom of the payroll barrel, the Marlins, the Pirates, the collection, to spend. There was talk really early on of some sort of reverse luxury tax, so that you would get taxed if you stayed under a certain payroll, just the way you get taxed if you go above a certain payroll. That died so fast. To me, that would have been much more effective than the other stuff they did. The one thing that directly impacts teams that lose is the draft lottery, and that was done to try to address tanking. But are you aware of the NBA? Who's had the lottery longer than the NBA? Has it stopped tanking in that sport? It hasn't. So I'm really dubious that we come out of the labor deal with anything that really fundamentally addresses what you just talked about.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.